guest's elderly mother, Joyce, suffered a fall at her home in a retirement complex, she became reliant alongside her family on carers who would look after her.
As her health deteriorated following a mini-stroke, Joyce was unable to eat solid foods and should have been given a soft food diet of yogurts and liquids. But daughter Justine Morrison was horrified to discover that the carers had mistakenly fed her mum dog food, which was being kept in the freezer.
And that's just one shocking example of the number of failures in Joyce's care which took place over several months. Justine's here with us now alongside Richard Robinson from safer ageing charity Hourglass. Good morning to you both. I hate that we're meeting you in these circumstances. Thank you so much for coming and talking to us. Justine, can we start by talking about your mum, Joyce, and the relationship you had? What was your relationship like?
Yeah, I had a really good relationship with my mum. When I was younger, I was a bit of a nightmare.
Weren't we all?
Like we all are. But yeah, I had a really good relationship with my mum. I was fortunate to have parents like I had, so...
Absolutely that. I know that, you know, I feel terrible that we're here talking about such loss. I know that in 2022, after losing your dad, Radis Community Care were enlisted to support you with looking after your mum. So tell us a little bit about that process and how that looked at the time.
OK, so when we lost my dad in July 2022, my mum had already gone into hospital a week beforehand from a fall.
Right.
The first fall. And so when, unfortunately, we lost my dad a week later, so they were both in hospital at the same time. When mum got released from hospital 6 weeks later, she went to a rehab unit, and they wouldn't release her home until we had a care pack in place.
Right.
And where mum and dad lived, it wasn't a care home. It was their own place, but it was on a complex where there was carers on the complex. So it was perfect because I had the carers there all ready to help.
Yeah, and then you're not sort of uprooted, you're changing their environment. And yes.
So in the beginning, at that start point, it was all fine. You didn't think there was insufficient
Fantastic,
care.
absolutely brilliant.
So it was a couple of years later, in about
It was
2024.
It was the January 2024.
And what were the initial signs to you that something was wrong?
The change in staff was unbelievable. It was a new management came in, and all the staff were leaving, and it was all new people coming in. We were noticing things like they weren't sure what they were doing. You could tell there's not been obviously any proper training there with the staff or anything. And yeah, there's quite a lot of, like, with language barriers and things like that.
And so things that you really sort of started to notice, because this, we were talking about this morning, weren't we? And we were saying that this sort of time in your life when you sort of feel that then it's your turn to parent and you want to look after your parents in the best way possible. It's a really emotional, horrible period anyway. But then when you're putting care into someone else's hands, you're in a really vulnerable position.
It took a lot for me to,
I can imagine.
to do it, really, in all honesty, because where I cared for my dad for 17 years, I cared for my mum for 15 years. They become my children in the end. And so for me, finally agreeing to have carers, it was really hard. But where I trusted the carers so much, they were so good in the beginning that I felt relaxed with it all.
Of course.
And I actually felt I became a daughter again.
Yeah, which at that stage in your life, to get that back must have been so important to you.
Yeah, massively.
So when some of the things you saw as a daughter, trying to protect the person who's loved you and looked after you all your life, your mum being force-fed must have been one of the most distressing things to see.
So it was after mum had the stroke, so she was only on a soft diet, like yogurts, etc. And the carer was spoon-feeding my mum a yogurt, and my mum kept putting her hands over the face to try and assist to say, I don't want to stop it. Like, that was one of the experiences.
And how did you know that?
Because I had a camera.
So at what stage did you fit the cameras? With everyone's permission?
With my mum's permission, first of all. And then, because things were still going, because we started noticing things, obviously, so we informed the management that we had a camera installed in my mum's property.
And so, and it's, I can just imagine what this is like emotionally as a family, knowing, first of all, that you're installing the camera because you are worried and there are things that you're kind of not so happy with, but then seeing that. And, you know, mistake after mistake, that's really hard on you.
But we also witness things as well, though.
Right.
When we go around, when I went in there one day, I'd gone into my mum on the Sunday and she was hanging all over like a sack of potatoes, basically, in her bed. So I went straight round the building till I found the 2 carers and I said, you need to come down and reposition my mum correctly. So we went back down into my mum's room and they actually stood her and asked me what to do.
You're kidding.
No. So I had to reposition my mum.
So at this stage, you must be incandescent with rage. But
My emotions were just in every direction possibly going by now, yeah.
And then who'd you take it to?
I went to the manager
Yep.
on the Monday. I went straight to the manager's office on the Monday and I explained to her what happened and she offered me a job.
Goodness me.
Really?
I want to talk this sort of, you know, there are lots of things that add up to you just, you know, this is horrendous, but there's one final straw for you, and we touched on it earlier, and I can't even believe I'm saying this, but your mum was fed dog food. How on earth, I was reading this morning thinking, how on earth does something like that happen?
Okay, so it was my dog food. I've always kept my dog food in the bottom drawer of my mum's freezer for years and years and years. Everyone knew it was my mum's dog food, but my mum was on end of life. She was only allowed a soft diet. The care plan, which was 18 months out of date previous, had been updated. So when the carer came in, 2 carers came in, she didn't bother reading the care plan, went straight to the freezer, got the dog food out, put it in the microwave and spoon-fed it to my mum.
I'm speechless about that.
Yeah, I know. And so a care plan for anyone, so is that kind of
what
to do for that
Yeah, basically. Yeah. So the care plan has everything on there, what carers need to do to look after the person they're caring for.
And the carers have said that they fed the dog food.
It was admitted.
They've admitted, but they've said it was a mistake.
Yes, so basically, 13 days before we lost my mum, I was driving in my car, funnily enough, to my mum's, and I received a phone call from the care company, the actual regional manager, to tell me that she had something really distressing to tell me.
Oh, gosh.
And my mum had been fed dog food and I actually laughed. And I said, can I just pull over a minute because I think I misheard you.
Yeah.
And when I repeated it to her, she said, no, it's correct. Your mum's been fed dog food.
God, this is actually quite a hard interview to just hearing what you must have been through. We've all got a mum.
But they knew 2 weeks previous before they told me about it.
Right, OK, so you found out 2 weeks after
2 weeks later,
happened.
so yeah.
God. Richard, you're the CEO of the charity Hourglass, who help people in situations like this where their caring has not been to a standard that they would have wanted it to
That anyone would want.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Tell us a bit about your charity, first and foremost.
That's right. So Hourglass is the only UK-wide charity that deals with or seeks to end the harm and abuse of older people. And the vast majority of our casework and our calls, because we have a 24/7 helpline, is around people in their own homes being abused or neglected or discriminated against. And I mean, I hate to say it, but I think the abuse of older people is now probably at epidemic level.
Really?
And it's not being taken seriously at any level. And huge testament to Justine's work to bring Joyce's terrible story to the nation in this way, because this is a terrible example of what's out there at the moment.
And am I right by thinking you're the only helpline? So you're the only phone line?
That's right. We're the only UK-wide helpline 24/7.
How are you funded?
We receive a little bit of funding from the Home Office, but the vast majority of our funding comes from donations, the general public.
And when we talk about, you know, like this is an epidemic, when we talk about the volume of calls, like where would that be at?
So we have contact points, or people, around 100,000 people a year make contact with us in some way, and that would include calls, it would include casework, and we have something called a knowledge bank as well, where people can plug in and get details and support. But the stories that we hear on a daily basis on our helpline are horrific, and what we need is the general public to understand that the abuse of older people is just as relevant as all of the other forms of abuse.
Justine has been so incredibly brave, as you said, by sharing her story today. If somebody's sat at home now and watching this and sort of thinking, do you know what? I'm slightly unsure at the minute, and this has really prompted sort of a conversation with their family. What would you say are some of the key signs of neglect?
Well, some of the signs of neglect and abuse are a change in personality, perhaps
From your loved one.
From your loved
Right.
one, yes. So you might see somebody who is more scared. You might see somebody who's undernourished, or perhaps hasn't been drinking as much as they normally do. Might be shying away from a particular individual, and if that's the case, and we're not always looking for proof, then talk to us. Talk to Hourglass on our helpline.
So in your case, Portsmouth Council, or the council that looked after the area, they've been really supportive?
They've been very supportive. They've set up a new department now, which will be monitoring safeguards that come through, because there was quite a few failings with the safeguardings that went on with my mum. They're also they've set up a department now that will go out every quarterly to monitor around all the care places to make sure the staff are doing their jobs properly, the care plans are up to date, and they'll be speaking to the residents as well as the families now. So yeah, they have been really, and they've listened, and they've definitely learned
taken
from
it on board,
Yeah,
which is
100%.
great. So Radis Community Care were the people. You probably hate hearing those words.
Yeah.
Well, look, I have to tell you, they said, we are deeply sorry for the distress caused to the person at the centre of this case and her family. We accept that aspects of the care she received and of our management oversight fell below the standards they had every right to expect. They also say that they have apologised to the family, taken action in relation to the support workers involved, and made significant changes as a result. However, they deny concerns about feeding, medication, missed visits, positioning of Joyce in bed, incontinence care, and a member of the management making light of the dog food incident. It must be hard to listen to that.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, we know what's gone on as family. We knew Radis haven't been supportive at all in any of this, so
The Department of Health and Social Care said, this government has made clear its determination to fix the adult social care system and create a national care service with clear, consistent standards of support for everyone who needs it. Richard, would you agree with what they've just said in that statement?
Yes, we do need a national care service, but there are some things that can go a long way to help that, and things like a single training package even, or a mandatory training package for carers would be a good start.
Yeah.
And registration would be another one. I mean, in Northern Ireland, Scotland and Wales, there is a registration system for carers. There's not one in England. So there is some relatively simple steps.
That seem really basic. That are being missed.
Richard, thank you so much. Justine, can't thank you enough for coming
thank you.
and sharing your story with
You're welcome.
us.
Thank you.
And if you'd like more help or advice on what we've been discussing, there are helplines on our website, and I assume you have a website too?
We do, yes.
Just give it
We are the helpline.
Yeah, you are. Exactly.
Well, our helpline is 0808 0808 808 8141, and our website is wearehourglass.org.
There we go. We are hourglass.org.
And if for any reason you're going out and you might miss that, we're going to put it on our website and our app too, and we'll link you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you very much.
Thank you so much.